Yeah,
It took a little while for him to recover.
I hear that.
But yeah, we had a bobtail, what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Too late, got him to the vet, and he didn't make it.
Oh man, I hate that.
Yeah. Randy was pretty upset. That was one of his favorite cats.
Oh.
He followed Randy around like a dog.
You want to try
Most of the
Yeah,
time,
I'm
the
getting
cat's
going
mine.
right now.
Good morning. Good, how are you? Good morning.
How are you, sir?
I'm good, how are you?
Where's Angie at?
She's upstairs.
I thought about her name all night. Well, I wouldn't forget it.
I'll tell her you remembered. She'll be here the next commissioner's court meeting.
Oh, no. Hey, you to the first day, sure. We're gonna have sports
That'll be good.
Okay. You get back in time, I'll get up and let you have it back.
Oh. Yes, sir.
Uh-huh.
Nice night.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Texas flag on the back, yeah.
Thank you, Greg.
Good morning. Good.
Hey, how are you, sir?
Hi, how you doing?
Doing all right.
So Liz.
How are you? Good to see you.
I call this meeting of the Rusk County Commissioners Court to order. It is Thursday, August the 20th. It's 10 a.m. I'd like to ask Grant Davis, our 4-H agent, to lead us in the invocation. Please remain standing for the pledge.
Dear Lord, we just thank you for this day and thank you for everything you've given us. Thank you for all the rain you've given us this summer. Even though it's dry right now, we know you've given us a lot this summer to be thankful for. We ask you, dear Lord, to help us throughout this meeting and bless the decisions we make. And we ask you in all this uncertainty in the world to show us that you're the one certainty that we can always count on, dear Lord. Forgive us where we failed you. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Let's see. First item on the agenda is to discuss possibly approve budget amendments in our transfers.
Motion for approval. Second.
Motion from Mr. Hale, second from Mr. Whitworth. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Number 2, approve the August 20th, 2020 employee payroll.
Motion for approval. Second.
Motion from Mr. Whitworth, second from Mr. Kirkendall. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Number 3, discuss possibly approve to accept bid proposals for a 3/4 ton crew cab pickup.
This is from Yates. And he said, drive out at 33,185. Sales price is 33,974.
Motion for approval.
Okay.
Second.
Motion from Mr. Whitworth, second from Mr. Gibson. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Number 4, discuss possibly approve to accept bid proposals for rock and gravel.
Sorry.
We got one?
Yes, sir. We had 2.
Great action.
This is from B&C. There's a lot of information. I'm going to pass this down. It's not set. Bottom line price. And then we also received one from Joel Black from Mount Enterprise.
I move we accept the bids.
Motion from Mr. Whitworth to accept the bids, second from Mr. Gibson. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Number 5, discuss possibly approve to accept bid proposals for an 8-unit T-hanger building kit with bifold doors. Got 2.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Okay, the first one is from Casey Sloan Construction LLC. And so the price is $139,320. And then we received 2 from Erectitude, but the second bid, they did a revision. So I can open both, but the second one is the one that is the valid bid. From Erectitude, 2, I'm sorry. $137,056.
What was it?
I'm sorry, $136,056.
136,000, 137,000.
37, thank you.
Okay. That's what I thought I heard.
Okay, thank you.
37,056.
I don't know if Ron would like to look at these 2. Just-
Oh, wait,
Okay. Do you want to come up now to look at
whatever.
Come on up, Colonel.
them?
Let's just take a look at it and then we can vote on it in a few minutes after you look at it and make a recommendation.
Oops, sorry. I'm not. Do you open it up?
This case, Erectitude is good. They're both bidding apples to apples, and Erectitude's got the better bid of the 2. So I recommend we go with Erectitude on that.
I'll move, we go with Erectitude on the 8-unit T-hanger bid.
Second.
Motion for Mr. Whitworth, second for Mr. Hale. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Number 6, discuss and possibly approve to accept bid proposals for the concrete pad for the 8-unit nested T-hanger building.
I recommend that we pull that bid, or reject the bids. It's come to my attention that I didn't have enough specificity in the bid package. And I have contacted Neil Holland, and he will do a bid package for us. And that way everybody will be on the same page, apples to apples, and we'll get everything we need in the bid package.
Okay,
We're using the grant money on the building itself.
Yes, sir. We need to obligate the money for the building right away, and we can use our grant on that before the end of this month. And then the concrete will go next year.
What's up? Record, can we get that done by, and approve the bids on the 14th? Think that'll work?
I haven't got the bid specs from Neil yet.
all right.
So I need to wait until I get that before we advertise the bid.
Do the next,
All right.
in October, or do I take in the September?
just wait until he got the spec.
Okay, and then come forward.
We'll put it on the agenda to approve the specs and go out for bid when he gets it to us. I move we pass on that.
Motion from Mr. Whitworth to pass. Second from Mr. Gibson. All those in favor? All those opposed, motion passes. Number 7, discuss and possibly approve permission to allow iDocket to have access to the district clerk's documents and images by allowing access to the county server. They will be able to back up documents and images off-site and make them available to the public online at no cost to the county.
I like that, no cost to the county, right?
It's always a consideration.
Yes, this is not asking for money, but I do need permission, and I'll go over that. This company offers many services, but this is the one that I'm interested in. They have things for district attorneys, juries, sheriffs, but like I mentioned, I'm here for permission. I've always wanted my documents online for the public to view. And I know we're really tired of COVID-19, but it is a good example of a good reason why I do need to get my documents and images online. It would also give people the opportunity to get this without having to drive hours. I know we have landmen that have to do a lot of driving to get to come here because I don't offer that. I always tell them I'm working on it, so now I'm really working on it. One of the most important things for me is that the images and my documents will be backed up off-site. We will still continue to do what we do here at the county, but my documents and images will be backed up in Amarillo. So if something tragic happened here, which I know there have been times when the county did lose all their information, they did use iDocket to pull all that information back, and they were up and running. So that is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. We would be receiving income from subscriptions and copy work. So just like people come in the office now to get copies, they could do that online. We get exactly what we get now. If someone were to come in the office, the same as online. It's not like they're getting a cut out of it. They will get, their part in addition to. But they provide subscriptions for individuals, attorneys, and things like that to access this. I'm really asking for permission to be the authorized representative to execute the contract. And again, just know this is free to the county. This is not going to cost us anything. We give them a one-time access. They they get all the information, then daily they will retrieve it and back it up off-site. I have asked other clerks, because I have been thinking about it for a long time. So I've talked to them, and they love it. They don't have to worry about it. They just receive the income from it. And they're saying, well, there's no reason not to, because they receive the income and the information is backed up off-site. iDocket, they've been in business for over 20 years. And of the 254 counties, they already have 136 that use this right here that I'm presenting. Again, I have Richard Luna with me here today from iDocket. And if y'all have any other questions about the company itself, he can help you with that. And like I said, they offer a lot, but this is what will benefit me. And so, Richard.
Let me go ahead and just hand out a couple more little just information regarding our company. And the sheet that I have on there is just an example of the counties that are using our services. The ones in the little spreadsheet are the ones that are in your area that are using our services. And so you can just go ahead and open up the brochure. When you open up the brochure, you'll see that we do have county-wide software designed for the judges, the district attorneys, county clerks, district clerks, treasurers, auditors, sheriff's office. So we have, as part of our portfolio, we have county-wide software designed for every office in the county. Plus, the service that Terry is talking about, where she's going to be putting her index records and images online at no cost. And so the part that she kind of mentioned about this is really better than free, because we have a revenue sharing plan where the clerks will be receiving 20% of the subscriptions from the lawyers, the title companies, background companies. The subscribers that subscribe to this service to access these records, the clerk's going to get 20% of that. So over the last 4 years, we've given $150,000 back to the counties as part of this revenue sharing plan. So it's really better than free, because the actual service is free to the clerks, plus they'll be getting a little money generating for this program also.
One other thing I forgot to mention is that some other counties that use our net data software and iDocket together, we have Cherokee County, Nacogdoches County, Hopkins, Coleman, Polk, Titus, and Young. For some of those that, like I say, use the software that we have, plus as a bonus, iDocket's imaging access.
So sorry, I was going to say we currently, go ahead.
The only question I have would be from a security standpoint, what is the information?
Well, it's very secure. We have FTP's security in place. We've been doing this for 20 years. We have 136 counties already using our service, so it's very secure. As far as like Terry was saying, information, let's say, so every night the indexes get uploaded. So anything that's done today, any updates, cases that are sealed or whatever, overnight it gets updated. The index are created, and so the next day it's going to reflect those changes. So every day it's going to be up to date, right? So it can be used as a backup service in case something happens to the court clerks. It's going to be an offsite resource that you can have that information. We'll have it stored in a secure place.
And I'm not a computer guru, really probably.
We have the hardware already that we can use that will allow them to create a session to go to pull from the server Terry's documents that her office generates. And it's not actually the full document. It's as it was explained to me, it's more of a bit type of transfer to where things that's going to be available to the public, it's not going to be full-blown personal information. You're not going to be able to go online and see someone's social security number and that type of thing. So yeah,
I just in my head thinking of it being hacked and information being changed.
Gotcha.
I guess would be my.
Yes.
So as far as the images, social securities, all of them will be redacted, so that the clerk will not have to worry about that.
Their access will be monitored because they'll have to use a machine in my office to have a session with our documents.
But if we were to get hacked here, they would have that off, away from here. That would help us. And we still do our backups here. If something tragic happened, but you could explain the facilities where they will be stored.
So it's in a co-op that has lots of other companies that are in a secure place. Everything's gated. All their mainframes and computers are behind locked doors and locked gates and stuff like that. So it's in a secure place in Amarillo.
Do y'all each have a copy of the contract, or it was presented?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I would be signing off on if y'all give me the permission to do so.
Without looking all through this, how long is this run? Is this a 1-year contract or is it an extension?
It's until we cancel it. And it's just that one page on the front. That's
And so the way the process works, let's just say it gets approved, then we're going to put Terry in the test mode. And what that means is that I'm going to send her a checklist for all these items that she has to go through, make sure that the history is correct between her case management system and iDocket, the history, the litigants, the information that's on there. So it's a bunch of like 10 or 11 items that she has to go through to make sure that both systems are in sync. Some counties take a week to go through this test mode to make sure everything's fine. Some take a month. It just depends on the county itself, how dedicated she is into going through this test mode. But that's the way. It's not going to go live until she says it's good to go.
And how often do you make a payment on that 20%?
Every month. at the end of every month.
Is that done by direct deposit or?
Yes.
Is it checked to the courthouse? or
It's
what?
direct deposit.
You're okay with that?
We received 2 or 3 other type of payments that way now. They no longer mail us checks, so.
That's the right way to do it.
Is the company an American-owned company?
Yes,
Yes.
based out of Amarillo.
Based out of-
Yes, sir. Texas based.
Texas.
Yes, sir.
Motion for approval.
Have a motion from Mr. Hale, a second from Mr. Kirkendall. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, sir.
All right, discuss possibly approve an interlocal agreement between Smith County and Rusk County to operate a multi-agency task force funded in part by Motor Vehicle Crime Prevention Authority of the State of Texas. Grant for funding in the amount of $523,208 for the East Texas Auto Theft Task Force. Sheriff, how are you?
Good morning. This is just the agreement between us and Smith County to be part of the task force. That 500,000 is what's provided by the state and stuff. That's not what we have to provide.
Who's our officer on this?
Like on
How long we been in there?
I think about 20-something years. Because I can remember Darryl Norris was in it, and there were 2 or 3 others before him that were in it. Weisenhunt was in it.
Our contribution is 9263, is that right?
I believe so. I've sent Rebecca the last stuff that I got from them over in Tyler on it. They're facing the same deal we're facing, our budgetary and everything else, so.
Are they solving some cases in Rusk County?
Yeah, they're recovering stuff around here quite a bit. Well, they're recovering stuff from here in other places.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're recovering a lot of stuff here that's coming from other places.
I'll make a motion for approval.
Second.
Motion from Mr. Whitworth, second from Mr. Hale. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Discuss possibly declare a surplus from the Rusk County Sheriff's Office following enclosure.
This was, I actually had Rebecca and Angela come over and do an audit because we had a lot of stuff we needed to clean up from the auditor's office, and we found quite a few items that we need to get rid of. And that's what this is, and I'm gonna be coming to you with another list probably in the next month for a bunch of vehicles and stuff that we're going to declare so we can go ahead and get rid of them. So I've got another auction coming up if y'all have anything that you need to put in one.
So you don't think any of those things like the camera and DVR console system and then itself can be reused?
Some of that cannot, some of that DVR stuff is, the old stuff that was originally in the jail when it was built, and it's gone south. It no longer operates anymore. We had to replace all it.
Okay, that, yeah, but the old jail.
Well, when we originally built the jail, this was the original equipment that was in there 15 years ago. That has since gone out, and we've had to replace it. It's just been sitting in the corner collecting dust.
What about the laptops?
The laptops we got still under decent, and we upgraded them as much as we could upgrade them, and we just can't take them anymore. They're just no good. Can't find parts for them.
Any other questions for the sheriff?
I move that we declared all this as surplus.
Second.
Motion from Mr. Kirkendall, second from Mr. Hale. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Thanks, Sheriff. Number 10, discuss possibly approve Rusk County role in the upcoming 2020 Syrup Festival. Anybody want to speak on that? Mr. Pike?
Well, I'll give you a brief update of what it looks like as far as COVID. On that front page, I've broken out in 2-week intervals ever since we got our first case in Rusk County, which was March the 16th. How many cases we've gotten in 2 weeks. As you can see, July 14th to the 28th was our highest at 115 cases. 2 weeks following that, we dropped down to 60. And in the previous past week, we're at 22. So we have a total of 363 positive cases in Rusk County. On the next page, if you'll just look at Rusk counties, where we have 366 or 363 positive cases, we do have 312 recoveries. We picked up our 3rd fatality overnight, or night before last. So we now have 3 fatalities. It gives us 48 active cases in the county. And we have 18 additional cases that are at East Texas Treatment Center, ETTF, correctional facility. And looking at the graphs, 2 graphs there show you the total number per day for the state of Texas and for Rusk County. We picked up 7 additional cases last night.
And was that because of some kind of special testing somewhere, or was it just people that came in?
No, we have not had any testing in Rusk County for a month now, other than people just going to get because they're not feeling well. The hospital is doing testing, PCR testing at their pulmonary clinic, or respiratory clinic, excuse me. The urgent care facility down 79 is doing testing. And I believe CVS has started doing testing. State's had a little problem. They've been miscoding their test. Doesn't seem to affect Rusk County a whole lot yet. So, but just to have public testing, we have not been having that. On the last page, you'll see, once again, the graph shows you the total deaths per day in the state of Texas. But the bottom 2, and I'll give credit to Mr. Chenault for this, he taught me how to do these. Bottom one is a donut graph, shows you the 356 cases. I didn't get yesterday's in on this, and how they're broken down into age categories. Kind of interesting to look at 0 to 19 is 13% of all of our cases. The 20 to 39 is 23%. Ages 49 to 59 is 34%. Ages 60 to 79 is 26%. And then 2% of our cases are 80 and above. And we did have 9 cases that we never got an age on, so that's the unknown, and that's at 2%. But if you look at the last 2 weeks, that 0 to 19 jumped from 13 to 24%. The 20 to 39 remained at 23%. The 40 to 59 fell to 30%. The 60 to 79 fell to 21%. I don't think this is unexpected. Yesterday was 2 weeks since Henderson Schools opened. And so we're looking to have an increase in younger people being tested. And I believe the high school, well, not the high school, let's say Henderson ISD, I believe they've had at least 4, maybe 5 students that that have shown to be positive. Other schools open this week, and Tatum will open next week. All school districts, I think, should be open by the end of next week. So that's what it looks like. You know, statewide, the numbers are falling. Testing is falling too, unfortunately. But we're looking at the possibility of, you know, seeing a little bit of a bump. Hopefully it's not going to be a giant leap when all the schools get open.
James, on day 135, 136, 137, was that when it reopened the state, or was it some other occasion that marked that steep jump in the state and in Rusk County?
Day 135, that's our highest day. That was, let's see, about, not quite 2 weeks after the 4th of July. That we were concerned about that. The state was. We had a lot of activities going on. I think even in Rusk County, we had several, the city and Lake Striker canceled their 4th of July fireworks. That is in correlation about 2 weeks after the 4th of July.
Overall, it looks like it's getting a little better, so that's.
Overall, right now, you know, when this first started back in March and April, there was a lot of talk about, well, when the summer comes, because we try to compare it to the flu. What we see with the flu virus is that when the summertime comes, it falls off. When the wintertime or the cooler season comes, it starts picking up. Like we'll start doing vaccinations for flu next month. And October, November will be big flu month. So this did not seem to follow that because it really got high and as the temperature started to rise. Don't know if you can correlate that or not, but there's a lot of things about this virus we still don't know. As we get to November, it's kind of a guess what the number is going to look like. But the virus is still going to be here. I don't think we'll have a vaccine. I think we'll probably get one close to the end of the year, but it'll take some time for it to get down where we'll be giving it out to the public. So, any other questions?
We appreciate everything you've done to stay on top of it.
All I do is report I report the facts.
What's your opinion of surplus?
My personal opinion, I would hesitate to do it, even though the numbers are falling right now. We'll have school going. We'll have flu coming on. And we won't have a vaccine.
And there's no way to
And
socially
there's no
distance
way.
those people.
There's no way you're going to social distance at the surface.
That's right.
If you do it, we certainly need to do come out with some kind of a statement of requiring face masks. I know we don't want to mandate that, but it has been proven medically that they do. The face mask does slow the spread of it. And so, I mean, just as community leaders, we need to be encouraging folks to wear a face mask whenever they're not in an area where they can social distance. They need to do the social distancing and then also do good hand washing hygiene.
Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
people that I've talked to and respect, don't think we can put it on safely. And, you know, that's the guidance we've gotten from James, and, I want to follow his lead.
Vicky, you have any input?
I've come to realize that true, there's no safety. You can't have it safely. But on the other hand, I want to have it, you know, so you got to go with the safety issues. And, that's really all I have to say.
I'm like Vicky, I would like to have it too. I certainly would, but one of the biggest concerns I have is us doing everything that we possibly can to keep these schools open. That's a huge thing to me right there, is being able to do that. It's a hard decision, you know, have to make, not to have the Surf Festival, something that, people enjoy so much and brings a lot of money to the downtown and all, but, I would like to, hopefully we can finally get all this behind us and, hopefully have it next year. That's my opinion on it.
Judge, are we supposed to meet with the city on
25th,
26th?
26th.
Next Wednesday.
No. Next week. I would say maybe pass on it today and see what comes out of that meeting.
They may be looking to us for a lead, though.
We can discuss that meeting. I would think. That's my personal opinion. Since it is a joint venture between the county and the city.
I'm like Judge, I also feel like they're waiting on someone else to make a decision as well, us, sitting in those meetings with them. You know, you have to consider the older people that come to this event. You've got to consider the kids that come to this event. You've got to consider the volunteers that come and help to take the money, put the bands on. Even if you didn't put bands on, you'd still have to stamp or do something. There's contact. You know, it's 1 year. It's 1 year that we don't want to risk the people in Rusk County getting sick because of some kind of event that we're putting on. And we've seen a jump after every event that's going on. And this is a huge one. It's not 3,000 people or 3,000 people. We're talking about a whole lot more than that. So, you know, somebody has to make a decision.
Coming
And,
from everywhere.
Yes, and they come from there, you know, so, you know, it's the risk. Like I say, the depot is older people. They enjoy going and seeing the sugar cane and the stuff and all that. But, man, is it worth it? You know, and mask I'll tell you about mask. When it's hot, you almost can't breathe. It becomes a health hazard to some people. You know, in the heat, you don't know if it's going to be hot. You don't know if it's going to be cold. You know, so, you know, and like Vicky said, Vicky, number one, wants to have it. And I understand why. But common sense kicks in somewhere and says, you know, yeah, we can't protect people. She said it herself. And I know she wants to have it more than anybody else, but does anybody here want to be responsible for what might happen? Because to me, it would be a bad decision to have it, but that's also my opinion. So I'm not sure that it's worth taking that chance, and somebody has to step up. So
I would make a motion that we send a recommendation through this court that we do not have the Surf Festival this year. We make it as a recommendation to the city or anybody else that has anything to do that the Surf Festival not take place.
Liz, y'all have a pay ride and generate some funds for 4-H through it.
We do, and we're unsure how we would social distance on the hayride, and we told the city we don't think we could be a part of it this year.
Those lines at the depot in downtown can stretch a long ways without social distancing. So I think you could probably stretch that line around the whole depot if you did social distance. I just don't, there's not a feasible way that I think we could have a hayride shuttle socially distanced. So.
Well, I agree with everybody, and I want to have it too, and I think it brings a lot of people, a lot of food vendors that depend on this thing, and a lot of people understand it depends on. And I'm under the assumption too, that I just think there's too much liability this time. Yeah, because I would be the one that hated something to break out in Rusk County and cause it syrup. Is I hate it because I think it's a great deal and it's enjoyed by everybody. But I would Mr. Hale, I think it's too big a liability on it for this year. That's one of those decisions that I have to make that I don't like making, but I think it's best for our community and not my own opinion.
Problem I have with the recommendation, Mr. Hale, is the fact that the county runs the deal down at the depot. So what does the recommendation say that we not have it? I mean, if the city has theirs, we can go ahead and have it at the depot. So I think we make the decision as far as our role in the Syrup Festival is, we're not having it at the depot. I think we have to make that decision, Vicki.
I would like a decision because I have phone calls every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
And it's major for them to know, well, number one, my cane man, do I need,
Yeah.
So I would like a decision. Actually.
I understand making a decision. My input on it was if we've already organized and scheduled a meeting with the city to discuss it, then, I mean, if we pull the rug from it now, then there's no.
Well, we've had that meeting with the city. This was just kind of after another meeting with the city to see what the changes were or what happened after school started. That was what the next meeting, this coming meeting was going to be about, the changes after school started and what the impact was with that. We've already had the initial meeting. This is just that follow-up to see what the changes were.
And that's all it is.
Yes.
You know, I really think the reason they wanted to schedule another meeting is they didn't want to make the decision that day.
Right.
And I understand that.
Can I change my motion then to say that the county, recommend that the county, cancel their part of the Syrup Festival and highly recommend the Syrup Festival itself be canceled
Until 2021.
and then reconsidered it at that.
Vicki?
One thing, if it all goes through, we cancel. I suggest that it's still gonna be the 32nd next year. Because we didn't have one this year, so we're gonna say that next year's is gonna be the 32nd. Is that okay with everybody? I just wanna be on the same page, that next year's will be the 32nd annual Syrup Festival.
I've been thinking about not turning 70 this year.
It didn't work for me.
It'll save on some money on printing things also.
All right. All right. We have a motion.
Second.
Second from Mr. Kirkendall. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All righty. Well, you've already given us an update, Mr. Pike. You gonna say anything about
The
testing at the hospital?
Yeah.
All right.
Judge Hale, myself, Ms. Akers, Oh, and Mark Whitner with the hospital met to discuss testing in the county. As I stated earlier, very little testing is going on. You might remember that TDM was bringing in military teams to do testing. We did some drive-through testing in Mount Enterprise, and over at First Baptist, and down at Tatum. And then we did some walk-in testing at Carlisle and Overton. Well, they pulled those military teams out, mainly because we saw hospitalization starting to shoot up, and it's still pretty high. And the governor pulled those teams and put them down in the valley and along the coast in hospitals that were being stressed at the time. And so the only free testing that we had, walk-up type testing, was in Tyler and Longview, and I know Longview's closed at 15. To say all that is, I think we need more testing. We asked the hospital if there was a way that we could partner with them. They're doing the PCR testing right now. That's free to the public if you have insurance. Doesn't cost anything. But we were looking at maybe if the hospital could start doing the antigen testing, which is the quick test. It'll let you know if you're positive within a couple of hours. So we met with Mark. He thought that we probably would be able to work out something. They haven't been able to get it approved by their home agency yet. I have not heard from him, as far as if there would be a cost or anything to that. So I really don't have a whole lot to report other than we're still trying to work to come up with a way that we can allow people, especially people in our community that don't have insurance or can't afford to go get testing. You can get the antigen test at the quick care facility down here on 79, but I believe it's $75. And I think I've heard CVS is doing testing now, and I don't know if I'm sure there's a cost to it, but I'm not sure. I'm sure that there is, but I'm not sure. That's good East Texas talk.
Yeah. You might be a good politician.
Right.
James, I was gonna ask you, on these recoveries, how do they come by that recovery?
Okay, when we first started out, it all had to be confirmed. They had people calling, you don't have any symptoms, it's been 10 days, nobody in the house. And they did that until they got so many cases, not so much in Rusk County, but throughout East Texas and the state, they just didn't have enough people. So they went to I'm afraid to ask this because I don't know the word. A mathematical formula that they put out. So 80% of everybody that's over 2 weeks from their positive test date is considered recovered. If you're over, the other 20%, they're figuring they're in the hospital or they're having other. So they have some mathematical formula they're using now to come up with. So,
My question on these tests,
okay.
you say that if you didn't have insurance, it costs $75. You don't have any insurance.
I'm not sure about the PCR. I'm thinking.
So
I think the federal
test
government's
is
picking
good?
that up.
Which is the good test?
Which is the good test? The PCR is the gold standard.
Okay.
It's the one it's the test.
And it's $75?
No, insurance pays for that. The antigen test, which is the quick test, which will tell you whether you're positive in a couple of hours, is a fairly good test. Because if you're positive on that test. But if you're negative, they're not sure that you're negative. Because you may not have enough of the virus in you right then to show positive. It's not as sensitive. the third test is the antibody test. And all that does is tell you that you have antibodies in your system. It doesn't tell you if you're positive or negative.
Our insurance is supposed to pay for any test that you have, but like this urgent care down here, what they do is they want you to pay up front and then file on your insurance to get your money back. So it depends on the local provider whether they want to file and get paid by the insurance company, or they want you to pay for it and get your money back.
But a lot of times, if you pay, it's cheaper than going through insurance. Surgeries or any other thing. If you're gonna pay up front, it's a whole lot cheaper than it is going through the insurance and getting all that money. My question is that best test, how much will it cost if a man pays to have that test done?
Well, what I've read, it's costing them somewhere around $1,000 to get that test. But the insurance are paying all that. If you have insurance, and I believe I'm correct, if you don't have insurance, the federal government picks it up. I don't think there's a cost to it. I couldn't get the hospital to tell me yes or no on that, but I don't think there is. The problem is the tests are limited. They're few in supply. So they can only do so many tests. And then even the hospitals having trouble getting some back. I think when I talked to them last week, they had 60. And of course, they're seeing 6 to 10 a day. So they got enough, but if we, wanted to do it like we did the walk-ups and we had 300 a day, they could do it.
What I'm wondering is if we use that money at these school districts, the kids are testing or whatever, is to go and get them a test right then to where they know, and these school systems know immediately what's happening.
Well, that would be your quick test, which is what we're trying to hopefully get the hospital, that they're going to be able to start doing that.
Which is not terribly accurate.
It's accurate if you're positive. It's not so accurate if you're negative. So I know it's very confusing. None of us have been through this before.
Well, what's also, I guess you'd say confusing, is that I've heard stories of people that have stood in line for hours to get tested and then walked off, and then a couple of days later received a positive test in the mail when they never got tested.
Yeah.
That makes you not have too much confidence in our testing system. If that's true, if it's true.
I couldn't speak to that. I just know what's happened in Rusk County.
Yeah.
I mentioned it last time. I'm not in favor of us as a county paying for testing. I don't see that. I've not heard of a great need out in the community of people saying, well, I'm sick, but I can't afford to go be tested. I'm not hearing that. And I don't feel like some of the testing that we've discussed are necessarily reliable from that standpoint either. I know that we have some CARES money that we can spend. There's a lot of limitations and things on that. I would like to continue to research and see what we could do that would be beneficial to our community, but I just don't see testing. Us paying for testing is going to be one of them. I think one of the bigger problems that we've had with this whole deal is that COVID-related things in hospitals and things are getting extra money. And so I think it drives more to it, but that's my personal opinion. I'll get off my soapbox.
Good point.
Yeah. I think the only thing with, is, and you correct me, but this CARES money, we have to spend 3/4 of it on a health issue.
True.
So we need to come up with a health issue before you can spend anything to help
Small
outside of
businesses,
that.
schools.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Pike.
You're welcome.
Number 12,
Thank you.
discuss possibly approve the reappointment of Brian Batkey to represent precinct 1 on the Rusk County ESD board.
Brian's done a good job and he is willing to serve another term, and so I recommend him for reappointment.
Second. Motion, Mr. Hale, second, Mr. Whitmore. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. 13, discuss possibly approve the following July reports, Rusk County Justice Deeds 3 and 4.
Motion for approval.
Second. Motion from Mr. Hale, second, Mr. Whitworth. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Number 14, public comment, no action to be taken.
I would like to introduce our new commissioner-elect in precinct 1, Randy Goff is here with us today. Some of you probably already met him, some of you may not have.
Stand up, Randy.
Yeah, Randy, I think Randy's gonna do a great job. He's a good guy, easy to talk to, easy going. Got a good head on him. I think he'll do a good job as your new Rusk County Precinct 1 Commissioner come January 1st. And everybody just calling him, he's making sure they know it's January 1st. And not now.
You got anything you want to say?
I know, and I mean, I look forward to being a part of it. That was a hard decision y'all just made for Surf Festival, but proud y'all made that one. No, I believe it was right. It was proud to finally be able to get here. I have been able to watch a few times on YouTube, the meetings, but I'm just proud to be here today. Thank y'all.
Mr. Pike, we had a little issue out at one of our nursing homes, and they're going to start testing tomorrow, isn't that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, we put in a star request and they're doing a check this morning and they will start doing the testing tomorrow. They got 9 employees and 4 residents, I believe.
What test will they use?
Probably gonna use that PCR.
Government's paying for that?
Yeah.
Federal government.
Of course, you know, the HHS has said long-term care and nursing home assisted facilities can start opening up for visitors, but they have to have a 2-week period with no cases or anything prior to opening up. And then they will also have to start doing testing, I think weekly in there. So they will probably be looking at doing the antigen test. And then if they're negative, do a follow-up or something.
Is the federal government going to be paying for that, those testings as well?
I haven't heard yet because the governor said he wants those tests to be done in the nursing home, so I'm not sure how that's going to come down.
One of my former employees, who's retired now, his wife had a massive stroke last week. She's only been given a few days to live. It affected her swallowing and her speech, and she can't communicate at all now. And so they're just waiting on that. His name is Mike Kraske. He worked for the John Deere place for a long time, was a mechanic for them, then came to work in Precinct 1. Nice guy and a very fine lady, and just need to keep that family in our prayers.
Shane's dad. Chief, anything you want to tell us?
I don't have anything at this time.
Oh, you'd see each other.
Mr. Jefferson?
I was going to catch a gentleman over there from the eye docket company because we've been looking forever for something that would help us with the discovery to share with the lawyers. And we've met with a lot of them and not been successful in anything. And if we could find something that would tailor into what they're already doing, it'd be nice. And I see him shaking his head, so that's a good sign. So I'll catch him. Other than that, I will tell you on the urgent care thing, Zach went down there and paid the $75 and got the result back. Edna went down there later on from the office, and they just want to charge her $90. and then they file on the insurance. So it was seemed to be going up, and I'll get off, I won't get on the soapbox about testing, because I've learned a lot of it, and I'm not yet to get a good answer on any of it. It's a complicated deal. So trust Mr. Pike.
Anybody else? All righty, approved payment of bills. Space shields.
That's for the extra.
Get the sheriff, chief, can you confiscate that phone?
What's the fine on it?
Take me to jail.
Who needs some
Lunch.
trustees?
I noticed on this, Freeman Norman, one of them is contract labor. What is that? She on herself or something?
No, they haul material for us,
Oh, okay.
building ground material.
Who's doing business with the cat house?
For the cat house. Um,
571
juvenile,
June.
yes, they got, pink logo shirt.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
Motion for Mr. Gibson, second for Mr. Hale, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? I move we adjourn.
Second.
Second, Mr. Whitworth, all those in favor? Aye.